So that's it, huh? With an anger burning in their eyes, Krish stood up. The duets are just too big and bad and scary to be dealt with. Just because they're scary, you're too afraid to stand up to them. That's bullshit, Mr. Yi, and you know it. Yi took a step back, a bit surprised. He looked temporarily lost for words. Krish took advantage of this momentary lapse in Yi's control to continue their crusade. You were asking for complaints, well I've got some. How about the duets have been running small businesses into the ground? Somehow don't target those in power, they target those without it. Where's the justice in that? What's right about hurting people just trying to make a living? What's right about forcing my father's cafe to close down, forcing me into poverty? You say the duets have a symbiotic relationship with Panthea, and I say that's bullshit. What do you give us? Protection? Yeah. Is that how you extort people for protection money? You know who that protection's against? It's against fucking you. That ain't what protection means. Have you all opened a fucking dictionary? And I know you know this, Mr. Yi. I know you're better than this. You've always talked about doing the right thing. So where the fuck's all that talk now? Now that it's needed. Don't give me some pussy excuse about duets being unbeatable. That's goddamn baby talk and you know it. Give me a straight up answer as to who the hell you've become. What the hell you've done. At this point, Krish was standing mere inches from Yi's face. Krish's fists were balled so tight that I thought they might hurt themselves. Krish, you fucking idiot. Krish. I already gave you time to make your complaints. You should have spoken up then. Then in one swift motion, Yi punched Krish right in the gut. They fell to one knee, clearly stunned. However, the stun didn't last long. Krish began to stand up in a huff. Yi, what the hell? Once more, Yi punched Krish right in the gut. It's not like he was winding his punch up, and yet I could hear the impact from here. Yi definitely didn't look that strong, but clearly I was mistaken. Indeed, perhaps I was overly idealistic to imagine that things could be resolved with speech alone. Alas, the philosopher in me gets the better of me once more. On one knee, Krish glared at Yi with an expression of no longer anger but profound sadness. Come on then, get up. That sadness was replaced with confusion at these words. Still, Krish slowly complied, clearly not entirely sure what the point of it all was. The point was made abundantly clear when once again Yi struck Krish right in the gut. At this, Krish cried out in an audible pain. That fucking bastard. Keep it cool. This was still mild enough. It could get worse. Don't get overeager. Krish was now nursing the spot in which they were struck with their hands. Okay, get up. But get up. For a moment, Krish just kneeled there, unsure what to do. Eventually, though, they conceded and began to stand up once more. And once more, Yi struck Krish squarely in the stomach. Barely any time passed between Krish falling back down and Yi's next predictable command. Get up. Again and again, the surprisingly mundane cycle repeated. It was very simple. Someone stood up and then was punched in the gut. Repeat. But by the look of Krish's face, you couldn't argue its effectiveness. Get up. I can't. Please. Oh, I know you, Krish. You've always been remarkably strong in spirit. Hey, that's why you're able to call everyone together here in the first place, right? Here, let me help you. He leaned in and helped Krish come to their feet. Then he took a step back and slammed Krish in the gut once more. And then, right as soon as Krish got off the floor, he began to help them to their feet once more. Oh, don't look at me like that, Krish. I know I've said this before, but you should be thanking me right now. The standard protocol for duet torture to be a lot rougher than this. It usually be something scarring, or maybe something with a lasting effect like breaking your arm or something. Some have really nasty ways of doing it. Ever seen one of these devices they clamp on your fingernail, that you turn and it drills under your fingernails? Truly revolting. Makes my stomach heave. In comparison, this is like getting off incredibly light. Just getting punched in the gut a few times? Most people go through something like that at some point in their life. And without another word, Yi slammed Krish in the gut once again. Yi's point was thoroughly made. Barely anybody in the crowd could stand to even look at the spectacle anymore. I even noticed that Zouchi was beginning to wince at the display, though conversely a slight grin started to spread across Fang's face. Anyway, Yi had made himself perfectly clear, and yet, you know, somehow I don't think you're going to get the message from just this. I am. You are? You sure? I am. Krish couldn't manage to maintain eye contact with Yi, probably because they were lying. Yi was right. Something like this wouldn't change Krish. Only reason Krish wasn't fighting back was because of all of the potential collateral damage sitting around them. Well, if you say so. What the hell. One more for good measure. Krish sighed and got to their feet once more. Now, let's give her the old rope-a-dope. Yi began winding up and then released one final brutal swing right into Krish's stomach. They were completely knocked to their feet. And then the crash of a certain dark green notebook came falling out of Krish's back pocket. Oh no. He looked at the notebook with some interest. Fuck. Oh, what do we have here? Don't touch that. Krish cried out, but it was too late. You'd already picked it up and began rifling through it with interest. Ah, I see. So this is your little ideas journal, huh? For stories and things you want to write. Come on, speak, will you? It is. Ah, I see. He nonchalantly flipped through the pages. Interesting stuff here. I mean, nothing usable, but interesting. You really intend to be a writer, huh? Like, you want that to be your job? I do. Krish answered this with much more conviction. Wrong choice. Ah, well that's no damn good at all, is it? Huh? I mean, put the practicalities of the market aside and look at yourself, Krish. Really look at yourself. Stop it. You know, Krish, I really do believe you've got greatness inside of you. Problem is, I've never been too much of an Aristotelian. I'm a believer in the theory of forms, you see. Everyone should strive for excellence in the field they're bent to. And striving for forms that you aren't goes against the natural order. Waste of talent. Waste of time. I knew it was about to happen. I readied myself. And then, I waited. With a sad sigh, Yi tossed the journal into the nearby trash fire. In a panic, Krish jumped out to try and save it, but Yi was prepared. A kick to the gut, and Krish was back on their knees. That journal meant a lot to Krish, and I could have saved it if I'd acted then. But, thinking about it logically, that journal wasn't worth much. A collection of written ideas. It wasn't worth compromising my position for something like that. Not in a matter of life and death. I admire the guts, wanting for something like that. Trust me, I've been there. Done that. Didn't work. He leaned down to Krish. Look, from one piece of sewer trash to another, take my advice. Stay in your lane. That journal, a complete waste. A siren song. And hey, I read through a bunch of that, and really nothing of value was lost. Krish had had enough. In a rage, they struck out, landing a solid, straight punch to Yi's jaw. Yi was sent reeling by the blow. Ugh, God, fuck! Yi began rubbing his face in the place where the blow had landed. Oh, Krish, you little shit. You really shouldn't have. I'm doing you a favor here. I'm being generous to you. To all of you. Yi was now bellowing, looking out to the whole group. For the first time, Yi was blatantly irritated. For a moment, it looked like he was going to go into a frenzy. Instead, Yi took a breath. And just like that, he recomposed himself. Ah, well. That's the way it goes, isn't it? Naive. Still naive, Yi. Think of Carlin's rule. Imagine the average person realize half of the population is stupider than that. From the start, I needed a better example. And with that, Yi reached behind him and pulled out a flat wooden stick he'd been keeping tucked in his pants behind his jacket. And then with his spare hand, Yi unsheathed the stick to reveal that it was no mere wooden block, but a very short iron sword. More of an oversized knife, to be honest. So everyone, you know Krish here. He's a pretty bright young lad. He's a painfully stupid young lad. And I think he just volunteered to be an example as to what the duets could get away with. Alright. I'd stalled as long as possible. But letting things proceed without intervention any longer, and we were getting into serious repercussion territory. Currently, I possessed the element of surprise. What to do with it? Thinking carefully, there was a clear target I needed to take out first. Earlier, Zouchi had his hand in his pocket. Looking at the bulge, I'm pretty sure he was carrying. Best to stun the person with the gun at the start. No, we're not going to skip. Oh man, this one's going to be long. I had to make sure my attack landed true. A falling attack. Jump kick. Jump strike. Full punch. Full kick. Jump punch. Full punch? Nope, that was wrong. My muscles moved to react before freezing up. I felt a pain in the back of my head. It usually meant I was making a mistake. It also usually hurt like shit. Yeah, I know. Mid-action, I changed course. What do we got? Jump kick, jump strike. I should write this down. I can't remember things. Full punch, full kick. Jump punch. Is it not full punch? It's not full punch. I swear to God, full punch doesn't come up. Jump kick, jump strike. Oh, full punch is right there. Jump kick, jump strike. Full punch, full kick. Jump punch, jump kick. Oh, for fuck's sakes! I should have skipped it, shouldn't I? I've already got 0 fucking thingies. Oh well. At least we took the chance. Full strike. I slammed into Zouchi with a falling strike. The momentum of my fall hurt me a bit, but it hurt that guy a hell of a lot more. Zouchi was clearly not a fighter, and with just this attack he crumpled like a bag of bricks. But I couldn't let up, not for a second. Element of surprise didn't last long. Next biggest threat, the Goliath. We've already lost the points. Charge, slam, jump punch, throw, jump kick. Jump strike. I kept my momentum up and charged right at Goliath. Like a bullet, I shot at him. And once I got in range, I jumped up and struck him with all my force. It did a bit of damage, but not enough. The man flinched, but only temporarily. Then he geared up for a counterattack. Throw. Right hook. Left uppercut. Charge. Overhead slam. Right uppercut. Oh my god! Too much. I can't handle it. Left hook. With a frightening speed and competency, the Goliath swung at me with his left arm. At the last moment, I ducked under the attack, grabbing a nearby discarded trash can lid in the process. Right as his arm passed by, I jumped up and slammed the side of the lid into the side of his head. The man flinched and lowered a bit in response to the attack, giving me the opportunity to lift the lid and slam it down like an axe. That one landed, causing the man to stumble back. But even with that monster blow, I was experienced enough to know that he was far from defeated. This guy would take all my attention. Best to first deal with the two looming fighters regaining their senses every second. I rush over toward them, making my way past the civilians on the floor. As I charge Sheer, he readied an attack at me. Left hook, right uppercut. There's too many words. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to guess. Left uppercut. Nope. We're just gonna guess. Nope, not that one either. Right hook? Gia tried throwing a right hook at my charging figure. However, he mistimed me. Right before I got into range, I paused, but Gia took the swing anyway. Now I've killed her, I rushed forward, slamming him in the gut with a kick to his right side. Then I pushed past him, hoping to make an attack on his sister. But of course, the sister was ready for me. Oh, there's too many words. Upper right swing? Fuck off. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I'll just guess. That one. Nope. That one. Nope. Upper left? There we go. The girl swung a metal bat from the upper left quadrant, meaning the blow would land in the lower right quadrant. I ducked over to the left. The weapon barely missed the side of my head. Instead of considering how close I came to imminent death, I punched Gia squarely in the side of the chest. With this moment of opportunity, I continued by giving her a straight punch to the nose. She stumbled backwards, but I heard a sound from behind. Gia had recovered, ready to strike back at me. No sooner had I noticed it that Gia had took a step forward, ready to strike me again. Rock in a hard place. Hook swing, uppercut, kick, straight swing. Hook slam, oh man. Uppercut swing? Gia, strangely enough, was going for an uppercut punch. Gia was going to swing her bat at me. In a brilliant instant, I realised what I had to do. Nothing. Well, not quite true. I moved out of the way of the incoming attacks. Then in the centre where I once stood, Gia's back connected with Gia's fist. Gia howled in pain, and Gia recoiled slightly, realising what she'd done. That recoil was what I needed. I jumped up and kicked Gia right in the stomach. I pushed off her body, using the momentum to power my punch at Gia's face. I didn't stop moving in that direction after the punch connected, however. Instead, I charged straight past at Fang. At this point, the man had fully recovered and was making his way over to deal with me. I couldn't have that. With this many opponents, I need to stay on the offensive, making them react to me. Fang saw, perhaps expected my charge, and prepared a retaliation in turn. Growl, grin, grind. Fang's arms outstretched wide, prepared to grab onto me the moment I got within range. Fuck, there wasn't a good counterattack. Anything I did, this man would take in stride and then proceed to restrain me. Meanwhile, in the corner of my eye, I noticed Zouchi, the one with the gun, was fumbling with something in his pocket. I didn't have time to tango with Fang. I just leapt low past him, avoiding his attempt to grab me. I almost lost my footing in this maneuver, but persisted in my run at Zouchi. Zouchi noticed my charge, let out a slight yelp, and put his arms up to try and block my attack. How long is this going to last for? I don't know. That one. That one. Zouchi braced for a punch, but I didn't throw a punch. I just slammed into him with the full weight of my body. This completely broke his guard, and after I took a step back, the kick I sent at his head connected easily. I could have continued to bully this punching bag for a while, but I noticed the bigger problems I had. I turned around and sure enough, right in front of me, Fang stood, fists clenched. To my right, Shia and Chia were just as close, both aiming to take a swing at me. Zouchi on my left would only stay stunned for so long. Too many enemies, too many possible attacks. What to do? What could I do? My brain was in overdrive. God. I don't know. Lots of words. Words. Yep, I'm not even paying attention anymore. Dive. Too many opponents, too many factors. Need an out, but where? There, between Fang and Shit. There was enough space. I launched my body into a low dive and got through the opening, while avoiding the attacks of both parties. They kept running a few more feet before reaching the alleys of the wall. It came to a running turn, but at this point I was faced with a very similar sight. Fang was upon me. Chia was right behind him. Jia was flanking my left, and back to my right, Zhaoqi was still fumbling with his gun. Shit, I'd have to deal with that. I was starting to feel a little bit fatigued, but I was far from out of the fight. What's the next thing I should... That's enough. Suddenly Yi shouted out, catching everybody's attention. Damn it, I'd completely forgotten about him. He had his blade around the neck of that white-haired girl I saw whispering to Krish earlier. She was quite understandably frightened. Impressive show, Hoodie, but I think it's time for you to put it to rest. Or else there's going to be a lot more examples than necessary to get the point across. I grimaced. This was bad. Honestly, that was quite a display. Golf claps all around. But I'd wager you're an experienced enough fighter to know you're picking a losing battle. So why don't you spare my men some dignity and just call it quits here? Keep roughing them up and you're going to start giving some of them self-esteem issues. I wanted to argue back, but the truth of the matter was that Yi was correct. I was surrounded by experienced armed thugs. The element of surprise propelled me for a while in the fight, but they'd all come back to their senses. Frankly, I doubt I could take down the Goliath in a one-on-one setting. Factor in that fat bastard and the Wonder Twins yapping on my heels, and I got no chance. And as Yi already pointed out, unintended casualties were too risky a factor. If only these sheep would do something. If any of them had been paying attention, they'd have remembered that the pistol was flung over Jia and Chia's head earlier. With Jia and Chia out of the way, and with Zhaoqi unarmed, getting your hands on that pistol would get instant control over the situation. Or hell, just run away, get out of here. This is the problem with Krish's plan from the beginning. I relied on bringing a bunch of people together. But people lose their efficiency in a group, they don't gain it. Most persons are smart. People are dumb as hell. Better to handle things yourself or employ others intelligently. Well, that was beside the point. Fact of the matter was, I'd lost. Game over. Reluctantly, I got on my knees. Yi smirked. Well now, looks like you should have been paying more attention to the new guy in town after all. So then. And just then Yi paused, because he heard what we all heard. The faint sound of an approaching siren. In an instant I could feel the fear that had slowly begun to build in my gut dissipate. Thank God. I'd stretched just enough time out to save our asses. See, this is why you need to be smart when deploying your trump cards. Sometimes you really need all the utility you can squeeze out of the situation before you bring them in. While Krish and the others looked relieved, Yi looked incredibly frustrated. For a moment he paced nervously and threw his hands up in defeat. Fine, you guys have clearly gotten the point. I think this little demonstration has made it crystal clear that this whole endeavor is a dumb fucking idea. Listen, we all know your faces. We know your names. Don't start shit. Keep your head low, and all of us will be doing just fine. Now scram. He brushed his hand away, shooting the crowd down the alleyway. As he did this, his members reluctantly made their way to the doorway Jia and Chia had been waiting in earlier. Many of the gathered crowd didn't need to hear Yi's advice twice. They scurried away, certain to never cross the duets again. However, quite a few were unsure of what to do and just stood there dazed. Well, some of them stood there dazed. Hey, hold on. Why should we be running? Yo, we're the victims in all this. The cops are on our side. There's no need to run. We should stay. This is an opportune chance. At this, Yi scowled. However, before he could speak up, I did. Drop it, Krish. We're saving our asses. We'll call that a win. For real? Krish looked confused and a little hurt by my suggestion. I was just being practical. Yi made a big deal about how the duets strike back, and we didn't know who or how many were coming to our aid. At the very least, I doubt staying would do us much good, and it had the potential to just get us in more shit. The tactical thing was just to flee. You heard what your friend said, Krish. Scram. Krish hesitated, but then began to begrudgingly jog away down the alley. And with them, the rest of the group followed. Yi gave me a curt nod, and then began to walk toward the door the others had fled to, which meant he wasn't looking at me. I told the others to get out of here, but I didn't say anything about what I'd be doing. As quietly as I could, I scaled the exact same drainpipe I'd settled on, the exact same scaffolding as I had before. You might think it was dumb to pull the exact same move twice in a row. That was probably why they wouldn't expect me to do the exact same thing. Maybe. Worst comes to worst, from my position, I scanned the surroundings. Sure enough, there was a nearby fire escape I could jump to at my height. I could use that to make my escape, and could easily get away pretty risk-free. It was worth the risk to start spying. And frankly, far too long, I saw a police officer coming down the alley. They'd likely parked nearby. It was a balding, slightly fidgety man. Seth. He walked down the alley at a brisk pace, with his right hand clearly placed atop his holster. Further down the alley stood Yi. He nonchalantly leaned against the door his comrades had exited through. A bold move, staying around, but perhaps an understandable one. Was this standard procedure? So, Yi, funny to see you here. A pleasure, Seth. You know I'm not just here for fun. It was a call placed, a report. Said there was a major situation here. A big incident of gang violence or something. Big beatdown. Oh? Sounds positively dreadful. Yeah, well, sounds a little far-fetched. But hearing about gang violence, I was sent to, check it out. So then, well, you wouldn't have to know anything about this report, would you? I figure I would. You would? And why is that? Why, because I was inciting that gang violence. Inciting gang violence, well, that's just not good at all. Did you know that's a crime? Is it? It is. Which means it's my job to haul you into the station. The two stared each other down for a beat. Then without looking behind him, Yi knocked on the door. Coast's clear, boys. I fucking knew it. Zouchi, Jia, Shia, and Fang all made their way back into the alley. Seth didn't look particularly troubled by this until Zouchi began getting in his face. The fuck, Seth? You totally friggin' ruined everything. We were in the middle of doing our shit, and then you came... When you came, we totally had to break it up. You're practically interfering with official duet business. Seth's gaze dropped down. Oh dear, I'm so sorry about that. Really, I hate to offend. Is there anything I could do to... As he was saying this, Seth nervously put a hand on Zouchi's shoulder. Then in the middle of a sentence, Seth pulled down hard on the back of Zouchi's neck and lifted his left knee with a fury. Seth made a solid contact, landing a pretty gnarly looking blow on Zouchi. Immediately he covered his nose with his hand, trying to soften the pain. However, just as soon as he did that, Seth also covered Zhao's face with his hand, pushing him back. Zouchi stumbled over and landed right on his back. You're seriously pitting this on me, dipshit? How the fuck was I supposed to know what the hell was going on? You should be thanking your lucky stars I was able to get clearance to handle that report. And also, how long does it take for you guys to do your damn jobs? I took so many detours on my way here, it took twice as long to arrive than it would for any standard officer. He put his hands up diplomatically. Relax. Nobody here's trying to criticize you. You're doing just fine. Ignore Zhao over there. He's a dipshit. Zhao didn't look too pleased with to be both injured and insulted in such a short time frame, but he also surely wasn't going to bring that up now. Honestly, I feel as though you guys don't appreciate the risks I'm taking. How much of your shit I got to deal with? You're appreciated. Everyone appreciates you. Hey Seth, you're doing great. He held out a thumbs up. Oh, bite me. Well, if it hadn't been clear beforehand, this little conversation was the final nail. Seth was as dirty as they come. A duet agent in the police force. Shifty little shit. Still, this is really a blessing. They clearly didn't realize I was here. So if I could get a recording of this conversation. I patted my pocket and instantly a bolt of horror jolted through my spine. Where's my phone? I looked around the scaffolding. There, around the alley, and then I saw it. You have to be fucking kidding me. Lying face down in the alley, I spotted my phone. Must have fallen out of my pocket at some point during the brawl. Go fuck yourself, God. Not even a little bit funny. Whatever. Even if I could get proof, I'd have to settle for info. This is really fucking annoying. So I can't help but notice you guys were already a bit roughed up before I got here. What's that about? Ah, that. To be honest, it was a complete blindside. There's a newcomer in this town, came in for the save. A newcomer? I have to assume. I never really got a good look at him. What with the hoodie and the fighting and whatnot. But those arm tattoos, they were pretty damn distinctive. They were black and swirly. Ringing any bells? Not somebody in a hoodie with arm tattoos. Yeah, funnily enough, that's not ringing any bells. Alright, smartass, I get it. He took a cigarette out of his pocket and held it out to Fang. Fang took his lighter and lit it for Yi. Okay then. Guess I'll have to look out into our mystery guest myself. And then depending on what I figure out, I suppose I'll handle it. Please don't tell me that I don't need to know. I'm not saying anything specific. But in all seriousness, can't you just, find someone like that? It's a small city. The duet's got their eyes in more places than you think. Might take a bit, but you really can't hide for long. And then, unfortunately. God, it's a really sick profession you dabble in. Oh? You think you're much better? I'm not talking about morals or anything. I'm talking about, having the stomach for it or all. To do what you do? Pretty sure I get stomach ulcers. Yeah, well, you're you. No, I think most people without a craving for violence would react similarly. No, I really think it's a you thing. Whatever. Look, think about it like this. To even get her, I had to pretty brutally betray the trust of someone who looked up to me. And you know how much guilt I felt about doing that? None? Not an ounce. Easy. I have to keep my composure. So when you put it in that context, breaking a few bones or whatever, child's play. I guess. So was it worth it? Might have been if you didn't break things up so quickly. I told you. Easy, easy, I'm just messing with you. You really are wound up like a screw, huh? Tighter. 3 guesses why. Anyway, I think for the most part the point was made. People by and large take the easy way out. That is, unless they're spurred into action. And that's where I have my concerns. You're talking about Krish. It's been a minute since anyone but Yi or Seth had spoken up. To Gia, Yi nodded solemnly. Kid has real spirit, I mean that. It's the type that can cause a problem. And at the moment, Krish certainly has the motivation of fire to cause trouble, so I figure it's my duty to get a handle on that before it spirals into anything else. To start with, I need to actually find the brat. And then? I don't know. I'm hoping Krish will listen to reason. Could be a useful addition to the roster. Someone with that many ties to Panthea's community? Do you really think Krish is likely to flip? At this, Yi took a real pause. He took a long puff from a cigarette and then he dropped it to the ground and put it out with his foot. Suppose not. Alright then, guess we gotta kill him. I feel my heart sink. It's a shame, proper shame I'm telling you. That's just how it goes. So you're looking for this Krish to be dealt with. Feels like that's how it has to happen. Alright then. I know of Krish. If it's necessary I could make a mistake, you know. Loud and clear, loud and clear. Oh, good to know you're on our side. Although you'd have to be pretty lucky to stumble upon Krish before our guys do. Right. That's for the best too. Don't want to deal with shit if I don't have to. The group of bastards continued to talk, but at this point it was all getting drowned out. Drowned out by the buzzing in my ear. This is going to be difficult to navigate. Once again, the cops have come in and be a buzzkill. Just when things were getting good. Lame. Fucking Seth, you ruined a perfectly good show. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Hey, had all the key elements that create great stories. Tension, drama, tragedy, intimidation, torture, degradation. And betrayal, obviously. It was fantastic. I loved looking in on it. You did too, right? No. It was nasty. Oh, really? Who are you kidding? And of course, Val's enjoyed the scene. Right? I mean, if you didn't enjoy the scene, and you had the opportunity to drop down and break it up, you'd imagine you would, right? Even if there was a logical reason not to? To just sit there and watch everything unfold? Well, either you didn't really mind what you were seeing all that much, or you're a total sociopath. I guess I can't clown on Vels too much, though. After all, the method worked out. He's quite the cool criminal, it appears. Speaking of, look, if you take him at his words, you could maybe make the argument that he's in some way doing this for Krish. But come on. I'm fucked up, and even I won't make that argument you can justify putting a hit out on someone for their own good. So I guess I have to give you win on this bet. Honestly, maybe it was a little easy. He was pretty obviously sketchy. Oh well, having a few easy ones to start with is fine. It won't get easier from here. Regardless, Bells has bigger problems than you. Or actually, I'd say Krish has bigger problems. Pursued by the duets, pursued by the cops. Now there's a noose closing around their neck, whether they know it or not. I wonder if Vels will be able to save them. I wonder if Vels will choose to save them, especially if it comes at some cost. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Okay, that was over an hour long, so I'll probably cut that one in half. But we did get a silver key, which means we can continue with our boat one. Yay! Which is not a boat one anymore, it's a mansion one, or a hidden secret passage. Whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for getting out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.